Today we'll see why Kollur, Velimela, Pati, Banur, Sheriguda, all these areas can be the next residential hub. We'll try to understand why they can be the next residential hub. So to understand this, let's go back and understand why the existing residential Pragati Nagar, Nizampet, Aminpur, why these areas have become the residential hub. So when we understand that, it will be very easy for us to understand why Kollur and the area surrounding them like Velimala, Pati, all these areas can be the next residential hub. So like 10 years back when high tech city was the biggest employment hub, at that time areas like Kondapur, Madhapur, Gachibowli, Jubilees, all these areas were known for their residential markets. But the price in these areas is at higher end. So the people like the middle class or the upper middle class who could not afford apartments in these areas started seeing other options wherein they wanted an areas which are closer to the IT hub, the high tech city, and also the price is at lower side when compared to Gachibowli, Kondapur, and Madhapur. And also people who wanted villa projects instead of apartments at the same price that they are getting in these areas like Kondapur and Madhapur, but they wanted villa projects, so they started also seeing other alternatives like the Aminpur or Baurampet, which is in Pragati Nagar. So they people of two categories, people who wanted apartments, those who cannot afford in Kondapur, Madhapur, they started seeing other options for their residential needs. And also people who could afford apartments in these areas like Kondapur and Madhapur, but they don't want to stay in apartments, and they wanted to stay in villas, they also started seeing other alternatives. And with that, Pragati Nagar, Baurampet, Aminpur, all these areas have emerged into residential hubs. So people maybe lower and upper middle class, like they moved from all from where different places to these areas, Pragati Nagar, Nizampet, Aminpur, which are very close to high tech city, and also the affordability is there in these areas. Similarly, with the high tech city, it got expanded. Now, financial district, it moved to financial district, Gachibowli, and then Gopannapalli. Now, Q city, all these areas expanded as the next employment hubs. And the places which are close to these areas like Tellapur, Usman Nagar, which are like 5 to 8 kilometers away from these employment hub like Q City or the Wipro Circle. They are very close to these areas, and they have become the next residential hubs. But the prices in these areas are at higher bracket now. But the people who have foreseen this development like maybe 10 years back, who have invested at lower price, so they enjoyed the fruits. So they have very good returns for their investments from these areas like Tellapur, Usman Nagar. But now people who want to live in these areas, for them, let's say if they are seeing for villas, so it is around more than 4 crores only, they will be able to get villas in these areas. And even if someone is looking for apartments also, so they have to pay around 7,000 or more than 7,000 SFT for their apartment needs in these areas like Tellapur, Usman Nagar. And majority of these areas are being developed by the big builders like My Home and Aparna, and the prices in for prices in these communities are at higher price. So again, the middle class or the upper middle class who could not afford, I mean, who don't want to invest at a higher price in these areas, started seeing Kollur, Velimala, Kondakal, Pati, Banur, all these areas, they are seeing it as the next residential hub because the price factor. And also people who can afford for high end apartments in these areas like Tellapur and Usman Sagar, and but they don't want to stay in apartments, started seeing Velimala, especially Velimala, and the part and the villa projects that are very close to the ORR service road like in Pati. So people started seeing these areas as the next villa community. So people who could afford high-end gated communities apartments in Tellapur, Usman Nagar, but they don't want to stay in these apartments, but they wanted villa projects or villa communities. Started seeing Velimala, Kondakal, Sheriguda, all these as their villa project needs. And also people who could not afford maybe even the apartment projects because of the higher price, started seeing Velimala and all these areas like Kondakal, Pati, Sheriguda for their residential needs. So now we have to correlate this, like Pragati Nagar, Nizampet, Aminpur, they came into existence because of the high price that are there in the Kondapur, Gachibowli, Madhapur. When I mean, because of the high price in these areas, these markets have become as the residential hub. So the same applies for these areas also, like Kollur, Velimala, Pati, Banur. So the prices in Tellapur and Usman Sagar are at higher bracket. So these places will be the next residential hubs. And also the Kollur has got very good connectivity because of the radial road 7 and radial road 30, which are connecting directly to the financial districts. And also the Kokapet SEZ, which is coming, so the Neopolis SEZ, which is coming in Kokapet, which is also very close to Kollur because of the expansion of the service roads and in the existing ORR. So Kokapet is the ORR exit 1 and Kollur is the ORR exit 2. So the immediate next residential hub to Kokapet is Kollur. So Kollur has various advantages, like it is already connected to Tellapur, Usman Nagar and the Gopannapalli financial district area, via RR7, radial road 7 and radial road 30. And it is also connected to Kokapet because with the service road, and also the with the ORR, and also the service roads are being expanded to 4 lanes. So with this data, I mean, we should analyze like why these areas can be the next residential hub. So people who invested like 5 to 6 years back in these areas have gone good. I have already seen very good returns, but there are still the chance is there. I mean, there are high end chances for people who come now and invest in these areas, because the square yard cost in these areas is at present also very close to 35 to 40,000 in good projects. So when someone who want to build an independent house instead of an apartment that they are getting around 1.5 to 1.7 1.5 to 1.7, they will get apartment projects in these areas like Tellapur, Usman Nagar. But if they don't want to invest that money in apartment, they can come back to these areas, and with 40,000 per square yard they can get 200 square yards in a villa community project. And once villa started constructed, so they can construct their own villas, which will be costing them the same price, maybe around 1.6 to even less than that, because if you take square yard cost, it will be around 40,000 in these areas. So 40 into 200 square yards will be around 80 lakhs, and the construction cost as of today it is around 25 to 30 lakhs per floor. So even 2 floors can be constructed with 1.4 to 1.5 cr in these areas. And also people who could not afford apartments at the higher price bracket can come and explore these areas for the apartment projects. Even there are many apartment projects in these areas like Aditri, then Aira. All these players have started constructing apartment projects also in these areas. And also there are many villa projects from Hallmark, Elegance. There are many villa projects also that are currently Brickmore, that are currently being constructed in these areas. So I would say, I mean, seeing this data, we can understand that the Kollur can be the next residential hub. So people miss the opportunity of investing in Tellapur and Gopanpalli. If they invest at this point of time also in these areas like Kollur, Velimala, Pati, so they can see good returns. That is what I can with the data we can understand this is possible in near future, maybe 3 to like 6 or 7 years. So this is what I wanted to share in this video. So sooner I will make a video about the villa projects that are currently ongoing in in these areas like Velimala, Pati, Banur, Kollur, and all these areas will villa and apartment projects. So for today, this is what I wanted to share the information. If you feel the information was useful to you, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.